Welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. This is Ingo recording in secret because Jen is off traveling in mysterious places and she doesn't have the time to log in and deal with my nonsense today. So welcome to everyone. There's no rules today. I have very little organization and I'm doing my best here. But because usually Jen does all the thinking, and now I have to do some thinking, and I'm better at the all vibes thing. So there's no cocktail of the week because I don't know how to make cocktails that well. So I defer to Jen, as I do with many things. That when she's better at it, I think it's better for everyone if she can help rather than me doing it badly. And this is not some kind of trick of mine. I just think it's better for everyone. It's kind of like comparative advantage in economics, right? If one country's good at making blankets and the other country's good at making cars, then, they shouldn't both be making cars. There's something there. So I do like a cocktail these days when we go to a tiki bar here in town or anywhere. It's called the Jungle Bird, and maybe Jen can explain what's in it, but it's a good herby, herbal, bittery kind of tiki drink. So it's sweet, but not too sweet. And when properly garnished with a pineapple and I think a pineapple leaf and an orange, the garnish looks a little bit like a bird head shape. So it's the Jungle Bird. So I can recommend getting it, even though I can't describe it more than that from the outside in. So that would be my cocktail of the week. That's what I'm drinking. That's what you get. There's no administrative corner, even though I do love an administrative corner. I would interject. This is going to be mostly ramblings. If I had to classify, I'll probably throw in a dog update or two. I do have a German word, but it's mostly ramblings. I think Jen would agree this is going to be a rambly one. So the ramblings will continue. There's a garden update. The problem with Florida is that it has two seasons. Hurricane season, which most people are aware of. And then the other season is called the dry season, because even though it's humid as all get out, it doesn't rain for a really long time. So it hasn't been raining, hasn't rained for about a month, I'd say, maybe 3 weeks. When it did rain, it did flood things, so that's good. But of course, it all kind of disappears pretty quickly through the coral ground here, and nothing stays around for 3 weeks in the heat. So I have been watering. Luckily, Jen pays the water bill, and I can just kind of go nuts. We have the new palm trees on the beach, so I got to water those roots and can survive, because it'd be a shame if those things shriveled up and died. My recommendation, if anyone doesn't have a green thumb or doesn't think they have a green thumb, is hot pepper plants. I've just picked up a few from Home Depot over the years, and they do really well. I can grow them, so they're pretty forgiving of stuff, and they make a ton of hot peppers, which is fun because you can put them in, I put them in salads or on pizzas and things like that. So, it's kind of a random little thing, but it's a plant I can grow that won't die. I tend to overwater plants around here because I'm hot, I'm sweaty, so I figure the plants need water. And many plants forgive me for that, but I've also had some plants that rejected my attentions and then kind of shriveled up and died because of overwatering, which makes me sad. But, underwatering seems much worse. So my tendency is still to be like, I'm your rain god, I'm going to put some water on you. And then they don't make enough roots or something or whatever they do. They like having dry feet, and then they don't do so well. So hot pepper plants, they do well. They seem to accept my overwatering without giving it back to me or getting upset. So I would recommend those. The rest of the garden's doing all right because we have mostly local plants that can handle the dry season. I mean, the palm trees are all fine. The citrus are doing okay. We're hoping to get some key limes soonish. If we had a mango tree, that would be doing well. I think the neighbors have a mango tree that's going to be throwing off mangoes soon. Our avocado is growing leaves, which is, it's nice, supportive. I support it, but it's not making avocados. So it's just mostly a theoretical avocado tree. The guava tree has a bunch of grape-sized guavas. So there's hope there that it'll get pretty exciting pretty soon, but they are all growing pretty slow. I think it's trying as hard as it can. It's working real hard. My main competition for any of the guavas is Ella, who can reach remarkably high guavas with her standing on her two legs technique. So I'll see what I can do if I can get one before her. Maybe I'll have one or two. But guavas are also fruits where if you don't eat them in a day, they can go from not ripe to disgustingly overripe in about 12 hours, kind of like avocados. So there's a small window. I mean, for Ella, the window is larger because she can have them semi-ripe. She doesn't care. But for me, there's a real short window. Oh, one thing, since I'm rambling, I might as well keep rambling. One thing that I like down here that I'm always reminded of when I'm up in Maryland and in the Northeast is that we don't have ticks down here in the Keys, which is wonderful. We don't have to worry. We don't have to check our legs when we go for a walk. We don't have to check the dogs. It's great. I don't think there's enough wildlife down here to support ticks, so they have nothing to jump on and latch on to, so they haven't made it down here, which is fantastic. We still give them flea and tick, as everyone knows, flea and tick. But that's mostly just in case, and in case we have them up in Florida, up in Maryland, or in case they meet a dog who has, I guess, fleas and they could jump over. But it seems like that's a pretty rare occurrence. But we still give them flea and tick. But there's no ticks for humans down here, and I don't think there are any ticks for dogs either. Although the vet does always check if we have flea and tick and heartworm prevention, and we would recommend that everyone keep getting that for their dogs, because there's some nasty tick-borne diseases where there are ticks. So I think that brings me to the dog update-ish section of my ramblings. Everyone is doing well. They're all sleeping right now, which is always a good thing. They are super cute when they're sleeping. Both Ella and Zola have just continued to do better after their spaying. They have had no ill effects. It was a great healing process for them. They're still a little shaved. They still have a little boots with the fur on one of their arms, but it's much less dramatic, and they're fully cleared to do everything, which they were kind of a week afterwards anyway. So they're back to playing bitey face chomp chomp with each other and with Feta, and especially Ella makes those cute little weird noises when she bites the air near Feta's head, and she loves that. So they're all doing well. We still have the crate up. Everyone knows that that's where Ella eats, and we don't think it's the best piece of furniture accessory in the house, but we are not in a position to leave it to break it down in this case, because Ella is still, she's 90% safe to leave in the house. But the other day I went downstairs for an hour to work out, forgot to put her in her crate, or didn't think about putting her in her crate, and came back up and she'd taken one of Jen's favorite baseball cap, and she kind of gnawed the entire rim along the front off, and so now it looks, well, hobo-ish. So that's no good. So she is still full of mischief. There's still a lot of voodoo in her, or probably always will be, but she has the ups and the ambition and the physical capacity that voodoo lacked. So she can get at stuff, and she can get into closets, and we do have a child safety latch device on the front door, so she can't let herself out whenever she wants, at least. She has been outside trying to take herself in through the front door, but luckily it opens out, so it's much harder for her to do. When she's on the inside, jumps up and just pulls the handle down. Then she's also pushing the door open. That's a big success experience for her. So she's now we have the child safety device there, and you got to pull the latch up instead of down. That seems to have stymied her. She still occasionally will try, but since she hasn't had any success with it, I think she's doing less trying. But as I said, she's about 90% good, but those 10% are unpredictable. So we have taken to, she's back on probation. We have taken to putting her back in the crate whenever we're out of the house. Even though probably nothing would happen. But it's been, she's still on probation. She hasn't shown herself completely trustworthy. And who knows? Frankly, Zola probably put her up to the eating the cap thing. Who knows? They aren't talking. They're exercising their rights to STFU. I mean, obviously, we still have a big hole in the household without Brody. I still find myself, because I was always counting heads, just to make sure, still counting only to 5 and feeling like there's definitely one missing. Dinner time, breakfast time is a little easier because he was the one who had most of the medicines. And so, there are fewer pill pockets being used. It's definitely different. And we miss the big guy he was just such a good boy, and just such a force for good and calm. Not that it calmed anyone else down. But he's, his spirit's still here, but I don't have to carry him down the stairs anymore, or take him back up on the elevator. He's having more fun, I think, in dog heaven than he did here. And, that's a comforting thought for me. And everyone else is doing great. I still am enjoying letting them swim, even though it leads to a lot of towel washing, and it tires them out so nicely that right now they're sleeping, and you can tell that they're a little bit more sluggish. Even Ella is not jumping around looking for something to mess with. So it's they're in a good spot right now. I don't want to mess with it. Since I'm still rambling, the next item would be Taste of the Keys, I think. And we have the new airport. I guess it's an arrivals hall. The arrival part of the Key West airport has been redone over the last 3 to 5 years, it seems. And one no longer walks on the runway to leave the plane to come into the arrivals hall. Now there are, gates and jetways and all sorts of fancy high-ceilinged space. It's nice. As with a lot of these things, it's progress. It's nice. It's more pleasant. There's more space for people to wait for their planes. It was getting really crowded in the old departure hall. I guess it's departures, but it's, the gates, the jetways work for both. But the actual departure, the bag claim is still really ratchet, and I'm hoping they'll work on that next. There's still 2 baggage claim carousels only, and only one of them has worked for the last 6 months, so there's really only 1 baggage claim, and despite there only being like 4 or 5 gates or arrivals, it can take a long time to get your bag, which seems silly considering the distance the bags have to travel is not very far. But that's a mystery that's behind the scenes, so that it's still a little quaint, it's still a little quirky, but it looks much shinier and much more modern than it did before. So yeah, new airport. I guess they did not end up naming it the Jimmy Buffett Airport, but there's still time. They might. So I think that's it for dog updates. There aren't very many updates, as Jen would hastily point out. Everything's fine. The Taste of the Keys segment, if this were a real podcast, would be, I think, mostly that it's Pride Month is starting in a few weeks and a few days in June, and Key West is still adamantly refusing to see itself as part of Florida in a good way, in that Pride Month is still a big deal down here, and it has a little bit of the sort of, I think, original feel of Pride Month, which is protesty, or at least setting a marker and resisting a little bit to some of the negative trends that are going on elsewhere. I'm wondering if Jen has a costume for us picked out, or if we're going to do something during the week. We'll see. I don't know yet. So that's coming up. Then there's a big scandal in City Hall in Key West, where the guy who was supposed to issue building permits was apparently issuing them a little bit willy-nilly and without really checking compliance, and there may have been some shady business going on, and then people's WhatsApp messages were deleted and emails were deleted, so it's a small town drama going on. So that's playing out. There've been grand jury indictments and subpoenas and big charges, so it hasn't resolved yet, but there are some almost big city issues down here. And then, other Keys updates are the same. There's still illegal fish being caught and people being caught with illegal fish. Some guy tried to catch a grouper the other day, and it was totally illegal at any size. And then, there's other people who catch fish that are too big or too small or too many and get caught, which I think is good. I mean, it must be funny being a sheriff's deputy down here at the sheriff's department, because they also, as well as the Fish and Wildlife people, they also issue citations. So you'll be doing traffic control patrol one day, or solving some crimes, although I don't know how many crimes there are, solving some crimes the other day, and then next day you're walking down one of those fishing bridges, checking people's coolers to see and measuring their fish. So, I mean, I'm glad they're taking it seriously, because I think they're partly my fish too, and I don't want anyone taking the ones they're not supposed to be taking. Leave my backyard alone, folks. I do have a German word for the week, even though it's not that kind of podcast, right? There's no rules here. It's all rambling, but part of the rambling will be a German word. I don't know if it has to be the German word. It's a German word. And it's sort of a typical German word in that it's a bunch of words stuck together. But it's Hundekotbeutelspender. Hundekotbeutelspender. So it's SPENDER, and it's dog poop bag dispenser. So it's just like one of those little, bags or tubes that dispenses the poop bags. But it sounds more dramatic in German, as do many things. So that's a German word. And, normally this would be, I think, Ingo Corner, but the whole thing is Ingo Corner. That's all I got is my corner. So welcome to my corner. But I will say, again, thanks for everyone who sent cards for Brody. We even got a box full of shark and Jaws themed toys and trinkets in his memory. And some people made some very generous gifts to the foundation in his memory. It's nice to know that he was so loved and still is. And we certainly won't ever forget him. He and Voods, I'm sure, are doing crazy stuff up there now that they're back united in mischief. And I think that's it from me. Sorry Jen couldn't be here, but she's out, saving the world, leading the resistance, and continuing to make the world a better place. And she doesn't always have the time to check in and help me put this thing together the way she does so well. So the next week with her will be so much better by contrast. Think of it that way. It'll be great. So until then, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to. Bye.